Lawmakers are set to return to Capitol Hill today as a vote for a new House Speaker is expected this week. Over the weekend, endorsements rolled in for two Republicans vying for the speakership, Ohio Congressman Jim Jordan and House Majority Leader Steve Scalise of Louisiana. New CBS News polling shows the American public wants the next Republican speaker to prioritize federal spending cuts, but also work across the aisle with Democrats and stand up against the MAGA movement. But those within the Republican Party may be thinking a little bit differently. And CBS News Executive Director of Elections and Surveys, Anthony Salvanto, joins us now to discuss. So-called MAGA Republicans may have a different wish list for the new House Speaker than Americans across the board. What'd you find?
All right. So that is the operative question, because, look, in Congress, obviously the Republicans essentially get to choose who the Speaker is. And then the question becomes, are they going to give the public what they want? Are they going to give their party what they want? And you do see these differences within the party, specifically for rank and file Republicans who consider themselves part of the MAGA movement. So take a look at this. 58%, so a majority of all Republicans say, yeah, like you mentioned, they would like the next speaker to at least try to work with Democrats. But there are big differences when you break that out by Republicans who consider themselves MAGA. That goes down to 43, versus those who don't. That goes up to 68. And that echoes some of the differences you're seeing play out in Washington right now, among other items. And there's another one that I do want to point out to you, Doug, and that is this idea of being loyal to the former president. We've seen this in the primaries a lot. All those candidates looking to both, they're running against him, but also sort of, a lot of them are expressing loyalty, or at least saying positive things about him. Same thing is sort of happening in Congress, especially with MAGA Republicans. It's a majority of all that wants a speaker who'd be loyal to the former president. It's 84% of MAGA Republicans who want a speaker loyal to Trump.
And meanwhile, Anthony, as all of this is going on and they try and choose a new speaker here, a shutdown's on the line once again. And Congress has about 40 days to come up with something. How important in your polling are you finding that is to Americans, that they find a way to avoid a shutdown now?
Yeah, that's really important. And the fact is, people don't want to see the next speaker be someone who would try to shut down the government. And you see that also echoed in some of the reasons that Republicans who approved of removing now former Speaker McCarthy, right? Look at this mix. 80% of them say he wasn't effective. Now, he, of course, part of his work was avoiding that shutdown most recently. Okay. But then you get a majority of Republicans who approve of removing him that say, well, he worked with Democrats. And so you see, again, that tension within the party of they want things to work out, but they don't necessarily want that bipartisan approach, not all of them anyway. And that's where a split comes in.
Do you find in the polling that Americans are concerned of the implications, whether or not they agree or disagree with McCarthy's removal? Yeah. That suddenly you can just oust a Speaker of the House like that?
Yeah. Here again, another story of division, right? Will that removal, what will it do for the country? And you get this big number, this half, that says it won't change anything. Now, part of that is wrapped up in people's ongoing negative views of both parties in Congress. And part of it is wrapped up to not everybody paying attention to this. But it's just split. Is it good for the country? Is it bad for the country? So again, the Republicans here, that divide, especially when we see that among MAGA Republicans, I mean, those who want a speaker who will work across the aisle, those who want a speaker who will keep the government going, and those, especially that MAGA bloc, who does not, definitely key to watch.
Anthony, we're the bearer of bad news here, but polling shows that neither party elicits positive views. What more can you tell us all about that?
That's true. I can confirm that, Doug. Look, that's, in some sense, that's not news. But it's important in the sense that this has been true since we've been polling. Oh, it's true over decades. People sometimes like their party. They sometimes like their congressman and the party that he or she belongs to, but they don't always like the parties collectively. And that's the case here. Nothing's really changed in that regard. I think the question is going the other way. Can Congress do anything to kind of build confidence in the institution? And that remains an open question, Doug.
Fascinating stuff. Anthony, thank you so much for joining us this morning. We appreciate it.